Ready? Hey everybody, and welcome to the unfortunately very empty Young Israel of Plainview. Which it's unfortunate that all of you are not here, but I don't know if this is but we're not the only shul that's going to be empty this Shabbos. But this Shabbos would have been Parshas Vayakhel Pikudei, so you're being spared one of the longest parshas of the year, but also Parshas HaChodesh, which describes the mitzvah to bring the Paschal Lamb, the Korban Pesach. And amazingly enough, today as I was reading it, I wasn't thinking about the Korban Pesach that we would bring, but about the Pesach Sheni, about the second one. Because the Psukim tell us in Bamidbar, Perek 10, in chapter 9 of Numbers, it tells us the stories of Anashim Asher Hayu Tmeim Lenefesh Adam. There were a group of people who were impure, and they were unable to bring the Pesach that year. And I was thinking about these people, because they weren't people who were celebrating Pesach some 3,000 years into the future. They were people who were slaves in Egypt. They were people who had witnessed the miracles of God. They were people who had crossed the Yam Suf. And so to tell them that you are not going to celebrate the first ever Korban Pesach, that was heartbreaking for them. Imagine the experience of missing out that they must have been going through. And they go to Moshe Rabbeinu at this time and they say, Moshe, Lama Nigara, why should we be left out of this? Why should we not be able to celebrate this great miracle that happened to us, not to our ancestors? And Moshe thought they were making a good point. So the Torah tells us that Moshe at that moment turns to God and it says to God, Lama Nigara, why should these people be excluded? And God says to Moshe, you make a good point. They won't be excluded. I'm going to give them a second chance. I'm going to give them a second opportunity to fulfill the mitzvah that they have missed. I can't help but thinking that that's what we're all feeling right now. Certainly not as grand as maybe those individuals who were impure and couldn't bring the Korban Pesach, but we're certainly feeling like we're missing out. We're missing out on an essential part of our lives, the Chevreshaft, the interactions that make our week and get us through the week, every week. The everyday opportunity to talk to God with a minyan. These are opportunities that we feel like we're missing out. And I think about those individuals again who are impure. Why were they impure? The Gemara tells us that they were impure because they were performing a mitzvah. They were taking care of Metei Mitzvah. They were taking care of individuals who had died, who had no one else to care for them. And that's what we're doing also. We, by not seeing one another, by refraining from coming to shul, we are trying to take care of one another. But just because we're refraining from meeting in the normative place doesn't mean our hearts aren't still together. Doesn't mean we're still not with one another. Which is why I wanted to give this speech this week here from the shul, because this really is our hearts. And even though the kol tefillah, the voice of prayer, won't be coming out of this building this Shabbos or any day for, I guess, the next few days or weeks or who knows, that doesn't mean that the kol tefillah, the voice of prayer, won't come from all of us. Which is why I want to make a request so that we can have all of our prayers merged together. Tonight, Mincha was supposed to be at 6:55. So do us all a favor. Tonight, in your home, in your living room, go daven Mincha at 6:55. Wait a few moments, and then start Kabbalat Shabbat. And then tomorrow morning, we were supposed to have minyan at 7:30 and at 9 o'clock. So depending on when you're up in the morning, whether it's 7:30 or 9 o'clock, do us all a favor and daven at 7:30 or 9 o'clock. And then Mincha is at 6:45, so then daven Mincha at 6:45. I know it's hard to keep a schedule when you're in the house, but just think about this. When tomorrow morning you wake up to daven and you're saying Shema, think of the hundreds here in Plainview who are also saying Shema at that very same time with you. When you're celebrating Shabbos, think about the hundreds who are celebrating Shabbos with you. And that's one thing we need to remember also. Shabbos did nothing wrong here. Shabbos is here for us. And we owe her the same honor and respect that we would give her any other day or any other week. So therefore, don't dress in your pajamas. Dress up like it's Shabbos. Sing songs like it's Shabbos. Tell Divrei Torah like it's Shabbos. I know that it's very hard when we can't get together. It's very even harder when we can't get together right here in this place. But that doesn't mean that our hearts aren't still beating. So this Shabbos, Vayakhel Pikudei, Parshas HaChodesh, Shabbos Mevarchim, let's all daven together, even though we are apart. Have a great Shabbos.